the way. I think
Thank you for joining us today. This is episode 5 of the Feeling Elfish podcast, and today we have Sabrina McGowan. Thank you for joining us.
thank you for having me.
There's this podcast could go 5 hours, but I'll try and keep it tight so we can get to just some background and some meaningful things you're doing for Helotes. So,
Mhm.
if you don't mind, would you just kind of start with just your background? I know you pretty much were raised here, but if you just
Mhm.
kind of walk through your background growing up here, your family, whatever you'd like to share, and take it from there.
Yeah. So my parents and I moved here in 1972 from Austin. My father was one of the founding deans at UTSA.
Okay.
So he was the first dean of the College of Liberal and Fine Arts.
And a dean, I feel like I should know this. I went to college, but a dean is like, what is the organizational structure? Like, what is a dean in a university?
So you have a president, you'll
Okay.
have vice presidents,
Okay.
and then deans are basically the administrative head of each college.
Okay. And he was the head of the liberal arts. Is what you
Yes.
said? Okay. Great.
Yes. So
That's a
before
great.
it was wonderful because it was, helping create a new university from the ground up. So before classes were able to be held out at the campus, they were in a business center, the Koger Business Center. I don't know if that still exists somewhere, but there were classes at night in conference rooms. And then eventually they were able to move onto the campus. So his day was spent teaching, but also coming up with courses, hiring faculty.
Hmm.
And he just loved the university. He retired and 2 semesters later went back to teaching because he missed the students and missed his colleagues and continued to teach grad classes until he was 76, I believe.
Did he have a specific subject he would teach, or do you kind of? Okay.
Yes. So his focus was pre-Columbian and Mayan art.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it's very cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And
Huh.
if you were a business major at that time, you were pretty much required to take some kind of art class.
Okay.
I later learned that my husband and my sister-in-law both took my dad's classes.
Small world, I guess, huh?
Very small world. Yeah.
Did your husband must have loved his class, no doubt, right?
Oh,
That's the
of
story
course.
Pat's going with.
Thought it was gonna be so easy, and it was not.
But now he's an expert in Mayan and pre-Columbian art.
Oh, yeah. He's the go-to guy for that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I took 2 of my dad's classes.
Okay.
He created one called How to Look at a Masterpiece, and which was really great, and he wrote the book for it, and, but he took roll. So I did not want anyone to know that I was his daughter. So I just, made sure my last name was left off of the roll sheet that I would sign. And then at our final, he announced for the 2 classes I took that his daughter had been there the whole semester.
Hmm.
One of the students next to me was a little freaked out because he had told through the semester how he was going to cheat on exams and midterms. And I didn't necessarily keep that info to myself.
Oh, got him. Yeah. Well, I think that person learned a great lesson there.
Yes, they did.
Be aware.
Be
Yeah.
very aware.
So are you an was your dad, did he study art and was an artist? And then are you an artist?
Yes, he was. He studied art. He got his PhD in art history in Mexico City. So he grew up in Jerome, Arizona, which was a copper mining town, and then also the Bay
Where
Area.
where of course, so it's very no. Where is Jerome? Is it like near Phoenix or Tucson or?
It's about half an hour from Sedona,
Okay.
just like west of Sedona,
Okay.
and it's a great little town. I've been there a couple of times, and then yeah, so he went from Jerome, Arizona to San Francisco, and then San Francisco State University for his undergrad, and then joined the Air Force. He was a navigator,
Hmm.
and he went to school, flight school in Harlingen, which
Okay.
is where he met my mom.
Oh, okay. I see.
And 6 weeks after they met, they were married.
I love that generation. So I feel like my generation is like, let's date for 3 to 5 years, and then let's
Yeah.
move in together for five
Hmm.
years, and let's see how serious we are. You've already,
Right.
get
Yeah.
do it or don't do it.
6 weeks.
Yeah,
And they
definitely the other side of it. Hey, I guess if you know, you know. How long were they married?
57
There you
years.
go. All right, you got see, they had the rest of their lives to figure it out.
Exactly. Exactly. And they lived, they had a really interesting, uh, really great travels before I was born. When my dad was teaching at Yale, obviously they were living on the East Coast.
Okay,
Then
that's
also in Mexico City, and then in Venezuela, Austin.
okay.
But this was their home. Helotes is where they lived longer than any place.
Did he teach in all those places? So he taught in Austin, he taught
Yes.
obviously Yale, he taught in Venezuela.
Yeah.
That's
That's
very interesting.
He was with the Foreign Service when he was in Venezuela.
How long were they there?
They were there for 4 years.
Okay,
Very different than how it
sure.
came out. This was in the 60s. It was very idyllic. A lot of expats, very peaceful, beautiful. Um, and they would say the same thing about their time in Mexico City too. But
I think Mexico City was that the capital of the Mayans. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like I'm digging deep into my obscure history of reels that I've seen on Instagram. But isn't that where Cortez? I could be wrong. But the Spanish came in and they found that that kingdom in what is modern day Mexico City. I could be wrong about that, but
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, not Mexico City,
Okay,
but
well, but it's
it's
in
okay.
Mexico City is an interesting place because it's like high elevation, but it's also surrounded by mountains,
Right.
so it's a very unique
Hmm.
city. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good for that's awesome. Those are
Yeah.
awesome experiences. And their favorite place, I guess, turned out to be
Helotes.
Helotes. All right.
Helotes. They just loved it. My dad designed the house, and they worked with a very young architect and builder at the time who uh, created this beautiful home, kind of in a Spanish style. So there's a swimming pool, but the swimming pool is up front.
Okay.
And when my husband and I moved back here, we decided I I wanted the house to still look familiar, but it was over 50 years old, so we knew we were gonna have to make some updates and changes, but we weren't gonna move the pool. So the pool's behind this brick wall, so people are really kind of curious, "What's on the other side of that wall?" And then when they come in, they're like, "There's a pool up here." But
Front yard, you don't see a lot of front yard pools. I guess
uh-uh.
so. That works.
Yeah.
Huh. And so you and Pat were so you grew up here. And
Mhm.
you when did you meet Pat? Tell me about
In
that.
DC.
Okay.
So I was working for a trade association, and he was working for an engineering firm.
Okay.
And there are networking groups in DC for each state. So I went to a few little networking events for the Texas State Society, which is one of the largest. There's a lot of Texans up there. And we met at one of these events. And that's when I found out he lived, gosh, probably 30 minutes from Helotes. So he went to Churchill.
Okay.
Yeah. He grew up kind of off of the 281 area.
Okay.
And
Small world
it's a
again.
very small world. Yeah.
And so what were you doing in DC? Were you working out there? So you went to
Yes.
school and then moved out to DC, or
Yeah.
what's
So when I moved from San Antonio, I went to Dallas.
okay.
I worked for a couple of nonprofits, United Way,
Oh,
in
sure.
the
Okay.
National Office for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So I was doing national media relations. And
Wow.
then I moved to DC to work for a trade association that focused on transportation and technology. So a lot of the tech that you see in your car right now came during that time.
Huh.
And the members were tech firms, they were all of the automotive companies also. And it was it was a great experience. I loved it. And then I was recruited by a law firm, which was very much the image you have of like a K Street DC law firm of litigators. That was also a very good experience.
Sure.
But in the back of my head, I'd always thought about being an entrepreneur and having my own business. And I would talk myself in and out of it. And one day on the way home, Pat said, well, if it doesn't work out, just go get another job. And I thought, oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
could
I
do
guess
that.
I guess so,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So I put together my business plan, and I was fortunate to have two really good friends. One who was a graphic designer who came up with my logo and my website, and another very good friend who provided me with just different business materials that I would need, and a lot of referrals.
Yeah,
So
those are awfully
that
important.
was very nice to have.
What was the business?
So it's called SQM
Okay.
Communications.
Okay. Nice.
And I did, everything as far as general marketing, public relations, websites, social media strategy, um, marketing
I-
assessments.
Is this still? Are you still running it?
As of last month, no.
Okay.
So I put SQM Communications to rest.
Oh,
13 plus years.
that's a long time to run a business.
Yeah. It was great. I just did not have as much time to dedicate to it
Sure.
anymore, between city council and the EDC. I also volunteer with two nonprofits here in Helotes, and it was just something had to go off the plate.
Yeah. S- So, man, I actually think everybody should have to run their own business at some point.
Yes.
I did not see that one coming. I might have said that on another podcast, but I feel like entrepreneurship, just the experience of feeling the weight of all those decisions and really seeing how the sausage is made
Yeah.
is a very formative and meaningful experience
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I loved it, and I agree. I think everybody should
Yeah.
run their own business at some point for some length of time,
Just yeah,
and you also realize what you want to do and what you don't want to do.
there's great points.
When I first started out, I took any and all work that came my way. And then after a couple of years, I realized, you know what? I really don't want to write newsletters. You start kind of distilling down
That's right.
your services, which is a little um, I was a little nervous at the time because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to give away these opportunities. But no, I want to do exactly what I want to do.
That's right.
So I'm glad I made those choices early on.
I really, yeah, I just think that you bring up great points, but yeah, I just think that you have to be forged by
Yeah.
that fire of entrepreneurship and really, I mean, I think it's great character building. I think that maybe most importantly though, you realize that the power to do whatever you want to do is within. If
Yes.
you can just, if you can just really hold yourself up and realize that, the buck stops with you and
Yeah.
just figure it out.
Mhm.
I think that it really is, you only get one life and I think a lot of people will get toward the end of their days and
Mhm.
wish that they had done something like run a business.
Right.
Just yeah. Anyway, I can go on
Mhm.
a while about that, but that's okay. So
Yeah.
I was just binge watching the show on Netflix. Like it's called The Night Agent, and it's probably not really at all representative of what
Good show.
DC is like. Have you seen it?
Very good show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've never been to Washington D.C.
Mhm.
So I do love history and I love American history. So it's just so interesting the DC area. I just in my mind though, I don't
Mhm.
have any direct experience with it to
Yeah.
judge it against what I have in my mind. So what was DC like for you?
I loved it. I loved it. The history. So a lot of people take those school field trips when they're younger to go to the Smithsonian or to the National Mall. And you're a kid, I don't think you appreciate it quite as much. And for us, we were living just on the outskirts. So we just get on Metro, and 20 minutes later, we're on the National Mall and going in and out of the museums, or there's always some event happening downtown. The number of people from, gosh, dozens of different countries that you encounter, the food, um, the transportation, just the access that you get, I think is kind of unmatched. I loved it, and we would do little staycations about once a year, where we thought, let's just stay downtown and we'll just be tourists and we'll do the double decker bus tour and
That's
learn
cool.
about some of the little landmarks that we're driving by all the time, but don't, realize what they are. So that part I loved. The part I wasn't crazy about, snow.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of snow,
Yeah.
blizzards, you know, 3, 4 feet. You're shoveling your driveway, you're shoveling your deck so it doesn't collapse. That part I don't miss.
I can't relate at all. I mean, I know if the snow is in the forecast in Texas, we preemptively shut down, and it
Oh,
doesn't.
yeah.
I mean, so I can't relate. It's just so funny, like, the American experience, if you will.
Mhm.
I was born in Louisiana, but I grew up in California, and now I live in Texas.
Yep.
And so leaving the state in which I resided
Mhm.
was a serious planning
Yeah.
and time dedication. So, and also, I mean, Texas has more history, but California is a lot of its history is newish
Mhm.
and or undocumented because of more native people, a different country.
Yeah.
And so it's such an interesting experience of like California, you study fourth grade, third grade, fourth grade, you study the missions.
Yeah.
Um, that's it. Like, and then the
Mhm.
gold rush, that's American history, or
Yeah.
that's California history. Like the
Mhm.
East Coast is so full of rich American, even pre-American history. And everything happened in such proximity to itself,
Oh, yeah.
And it's just gotta be interesting. Did you and Pat take much time to like go up and down and kind of see the history of America as well there?
Yes, and that was that kind of access, if you drive for half an hour here, you get downtown.
Right.
You're still San Antonio.
Yeah.
In the DC area, you drive half an hour, you're in Virginia, you're in Maryland. You can take the train up to Philadelphia to New York City, for the day. And the train, I love taking the train, by the way. That was always fun. It was a great way to get to New York and a lot less stressful
I bet.
than flying somewhere.
I bet.
So, yeah, there's a lot more history to explore, and it's easier to get to these places.
Yeah. My wife, well, Aubrey, her sister is for her birthday party. They're all going to Charleston, South Carolina, and they just told me that. And I've not been to Charleston. Like, I haven't really spent any time in my life on the East Coast. And I
Oh,
was
we've
like,
been to Charleston.
that's like Fort Sumter, I think, is out there. It's just the beginning of the Civil War,
Yeah,
basically.
it's a good time.
I
The
bet.
food.
I'm legitimately jealous.
Yeah. We actually, took a road trip one year to Charleston because the weather was gonna be a little bit better than it was in DC. We were still, like, under snow, and we were looking at the forecast, and Charleston was, like, sunny and 70 degrees. So
Yeah.
we drove down and stayed at a little historic inn and just we had our menu planned.
Yeah.
We had looked up all of these different restaurants and cafes, and it was basically an eating tour. A little bit of history too. So it was educational and just the food. Oh my gosh. It was outstanding.
Good for, yeah. Someday we'll get out there.
Yeah.
Well, what made you and Pat come back? Like, what was so you're out there, you guys are working, it was
We're
doing great.
working, everything's going well. Then COVID hit.
Okay.
And we knew we would always move back when we retired. We kept my family home. And about every 4 to 6 months, we would come down and do a little work on it, make sure the yard was being maintained. And yeah, it was mostly yard work. We would come down
There
and then treat ourselves at El Chaparral
there you go.
afterwards.
That's right. That's right.
But COVID hit, and my mom passed away in July of 2020. Um, we had her near our house. She'd had a massive stroke in 2016, and we moved her up to where we were, and I had her at a nursing home that was basically designed around people who had experienced or were experiencing Alzheimer's and dementia, which affected my mom. uh, the blessing was she was only maybe 2 minutes from our house, and so I was able to be there almost every day with her. And then when she passed, we just thought, you know, we've got COVID. We don't know what's going to happen with our jobs or going back to work. My husband always traveled a lot. So we figured, well, as long as we're near an airport, we could actually move to Helotes now if we wanted. And we talked with a friend of ours who is a realtor. We thought, gosh, trying to sell a townhome during COVID might not be such a great idea. It turned out to be an excellent idea. The house sold very quickly. We made money, but then we looked at each other and went, "We've got to pack. We've got
Uh,
to, we've got to get down there." So we moved down. We arrived at the house on November 8th, and we were in the house for the first couple of months before the construction had to begin. But no one had been in that house full time
5 years.
in
Yeah, at
years.
least, right?
So
Man.
one of the there's one working bathroom. The oven didn't work.
When was it built originally?
1972.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything was pretty much original. So the heat
Okay.
went out. So we were working with our coats. And then we thought maybe now's the time to go to the apartment and not wait until demo starts because we need water and working appliances and heat.
Yeah.
We had actually put most of our winter stuff in storage because I thought, oh, the winter's mild here. And then February we had,
Snow. That's
yeah,
that's right. That's
we had
right.
snow. And I thought, what are the odds? I thought I
You
left.
guys are the reason. No.
Yeah, we brought the snow with us.
I actually missed the whole. I was in Alaska.
Oh,
If you could believe that, very random. But I
oh
was
my
in Alaska
gosh.
that week, that 1 week,
Yeah,
and I was trying to get home for the whole week. Stuck in Dallas for a few days,
yeah.
so I missed the whole thing. But yeah,
Oh my
it just
gosh.
snowed twice
Yeah,
in like a week
it
and shut down.
was
Yeah.
kind of crazy because it had
So,
not snowed that much since I
oh,
think 1984.
yeah, I mean,
And I remember that, because as a kid, all of us were like, "Oh my
this is
gosh,
the
there's
best,
snow. This is
right?
wonderful. No school."
Oh
Um,
man, what a welcome, what a homecoming, huh?
yeah,
That's yeah,
I was like, "Please, not again."
yeah.
So about 18 months later, we moved back into the house, and it's a nice collage of our things, my parents' things, my in-laws' things. We have their grandfather clock that my father-in-law brought back during, I think, World War II. And so it's our forever home.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a reflection of our values, our family, our friends. When people come over, we love to entertain. It's just like make yourself comfortable.
That's neat. I guess I didn't realize. I mean, it's 6 years and time
Mhm,
flies, but
mhm,
you do. I mean, you seem like you're so involved in Helotes. Well, you are involved in
mhm.
Helotes, and your roots are so deep. I just kind of assumed. I don't know. I assumed you were gone for like 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
uh,
Well, when we moved back, the thing that was really important to me was to get to know Helotes all over again.
yeah.
And we knew, I think from our time in DC, if you want to find out what's going on, you've got to get involved in what's happening at City Hall.
Right.
So we started attending planning and zoning meetings, and then we started going to city council meetings. And on the agenda um, was a PUD request. So there was a developer that was interested in some acreage that was zoned for commercial use, and a PUD would allow them to put in a development that was mixed use. So residential and a little bit of commercial.
This is near Old Town. Is that so? The north side of Bandera Road, is
Yeah.
that technically Old Town? Or it's not, huh? The Old Town. So,
It goes about that far.
okay.
This was going to be next to Grace Church, which is next to the Legacy.
Okay.
So on Bandera Road, but across from the entrance, one of the entrances to Old Town.
Yep.
And I would like something to be there. I think Helotes needs more options for shopping, dining, entertainment.
Yep.
So I felt very strongly it should stay commercial. I started talking with neighbors. I looked at the plans that the developer was submitting, and then I looked at their experience. They had one project underway, which was the only one they had under their belt. It's out of New Braunfels, so drove to New Braunfels to take a look at it, and it was high density apartments.
Hmm. Okay.
And then as I was talking with more people, I held a couple of events at the house, um, different neighbors, and not just my neighbors in Helotes Park Estates, but there were folks from Iron Horse Canyon, from all over Helotes who had different concerns. So some people are concerned about traffic.
Yeah.
Some people are concerned about the impact on our schools. or public safety. Everyone had
Those are all,
different
yeah, those are
reasons.
all legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just encourage people to go to these hearings and speak during citizens to be heard,
Yeah.
or email the city secretary and ask her to share your comments with the mayor and council if you're for it or against it, but just get involved. And so the public hearings started to grow. And when the item was on the agenda for the city council, more and more people were showing up opposed to it. And then when it came time for the council to vote, they denied the developer's request.
And the reason they could do it is because it would require a reclassification of what that zone or that rezoning of what it is. Right.
Yes,
Okay. Got it.
yes, to
So
go.
that's the grounds they're able to, because people think that you guys have a magic. So you're on city council. People
Yeah,
think that you guys all have a magic wand and you can just say this business here and that business. But it's not that simple. There's a
no,
lot to it.
no, there's a lot to it. So when Helotes incorporated in 1981, and it was zoned, it was about 50% residential, 50% commercial.
Just no mixed use.
No,
All this is residential. This is
and this is
commercial.
commercial.
Got it.
And with the commercial, there's different classifications. B3 is probably the largest of the classifications
Okay.
for commercial zoning. But within B3, there are 170 different types of businesses
Okay.
that fall under B3. So everything from a restaurant to a bowling alley
Okay.
fall under B3.
And that's as granular as really the administration or the governance of the city can be. So then it's up to the mercy of whoever actually wants to purchase and develop that land.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
And
okay.
so when you have a business close, it's not at the city council's
Yeah. You can't say we're
request.
looking for a specific. Yeah.
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 Especially if it's a chain, it's probably a corporate or a regional decision.
Yeah.
And then if another business comes in, we don't have any control if it's zoned for that type of business.
Right.
What the city council will look at, what our planning and zoning commission will look at, are obviously the site plan, which goes through a city engineer to make sure it's, something's going to be constructed according to code. It's
Yeah.
going to be safe. We look at signage. We have different ordinances for the type of sign, the size of sign, the placement of signs. And so when a development project comes to the city, we're looking at the site plan, signage, building exterior, the materials that are going to be used to make sure everything is in compliance with our ordinances. And if something isn't, sometimes a developer or business will ask for variance. The sign is maybe 10% larger than what's allowed. When it goes to planning and zoning, the commissioners have the opportunity to recommend to council that we approve that variance.
I see.
But the city council is the final decision-making authority on that.
So I suppose the heart, so your city council, place 2, is it?
4.
4. Okay. I knew it was an even number. 50% chance on even numbers.
Uh-huh.
And then you are also a director on the Economic Development Corporation. And so I think that's where the EDC comes in, right?
Yes.
Because we are both directors there.
Yes, we are.
So trying to incentivize the right business within the zoning parameters or work together to craft and cultivate the type of culture, businesses that are in the best interest of the people we serve, right?
Yes.
So that's how they work together. I think that's, again, from the outside until you're involved, and I agree with you, people should come to these things because if nothing more, they'll realize, okay, there are rules to the games.
Right.
You have to work within the parameters. So there's order and functioning government, functioning businesses. And so it's important to understand that it's just not as simple as, and it for reasons, there's reasons it's not that simple. And so, I think it's how that ties together, I suppose. So, no, that's helpful. Well, what about, so city council, how do you like how do you like being on city council?
I love it. It was never a goal. So after the PUD was denied by
I'm sorry,
city
I cut you
council.
off there. If you want to continue on that. Yeah. Sorry.
So Cynthia Massey, who had served for almost 16 years on city council, reached out to me and asked me if I ever thought of running for city council. And I said, no, I've never thought of politics. I'm, you know, communications executive and a volunteer. Um, we had a number of conversations about what it would involve. And I thought about it a lot, talked with my husband about it a lot, prayed a lot about it. And what I realized was Helotes is going to continue to grow, but it can grow thoughtfully and it can grow strategically. And if I'm able to have some influence on how that growth happens as a council member by ensuring that our ordinances are upheld and that the city is working with the EDC to bring in the type of retail and services that complement what we already have, I want to be a part of that. I definitely want to be a part of that. So I ran in 2024 unopposed, and then I ran again this year unopposed again.
It's too
But
threatening. That's.
well,
I'm sure there's people that would run. They see the writing on the wall before.
oh, thank you. Well, but you know what's interesting is I still campaigned. Um, and it's wonderful having a social media presence, but I think the more important conversations happen face to face. So, meeting my neighbors, going into other communities, but also just running into people at different community events or, shopping in Old Town. Just being out and being present is always a great opportunity to connect with somebody and to listen to them, but also to be able to provide them with some information.
Yeah. I mean, I think I will. I mean, you and Pat both, and I like that you guys often are unified in that. Like
Hmm.
he's usually with you. He's not traveling.
Yeah.
I really like that because you can almost predict that you'll be out if there's something happening in the community.
Yeah.
And your social media, if people don't follow you, your social media is great because it lists out what's happening and when to be there and what's on the agenda. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of that. So keeping people engaged through information is a strong suit of yours, I think. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Well, when I first campaigned, I came across a lot of people that did not realize these meetings are open to the public.
Right, right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this
That's the
is,
point, kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
come. And if it's not convenient, they're all recorded. So the city has a YouTube channel. So you can either live stream or go back and watch our city council meetings,
Yeah.
planning and zoning, our EDC meetings as well. And all of those meetings have an opportunity at the very beginning called Citizens to be Heard.
Oh, yeah.
You've got 3 minutes and you can come talk to us about whatever you want. It doesn't have to be on the agenda. The only thing is, we can't address you directly after that. But our city manager, our city administrator, Henry Hayes, is listening. We have other staff in the room. So you're likely to, get some follow up.
Right. And that's how you bring awareness. Everything is driven off awareness,
Yeah.
right? And engagement. What?
Hmm.
So I know the EDC has Citizens Be Heard as well. City
Yeah.
Council does.
Hmm.
Do all of the meetings that happen within the city, or like P and Z, do they have Citizens Be Heard?
Yeah.
So all of them. See,
Yeah.
I should probably know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
An EDC meets once a month. Planning and zoning meets once a month, but city council's twice a month on the second and the fourth Thursday.
That is that is a lot of time outlay that you have, a lot
Yeah.
of time commitment to the city.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear, we are coming up. So the city, most people, my business runs calendar year,
Mhm.
annual budgeting and performance and reporting. The city runs October through September. Is that right? So we are coming up to budget planning season.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this is now your second term, but how many years of budget? This is year 3 of direct.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts,
Mhm.
just kind of open platform to you. What are your thoughts coming into budget season here? And the way it works, and you can correct me. So the way it works is there's a whole bunch of workshops, or at least a few workshops.
Mhm.
It's also discussed in actual city council meetings. So what is the process, if you kind of lay that out for the person that's less aware of how it works, including myself in that,
Sure.
and when and how people can engage, and maybe what will be discussed. So I don't know to what extent you can discuss
Sure,
that.
sure.
So
So we'll have 2 budget workshops, one in June, on June 24th. The second budget workshop is on July 15th.
okay,
They're during the day. So it might be hard for residents to come in person, but again, they'll be recorded because this is the first time since I've been on council that the budget workshops will be held inside council
Big
chambers.
fan of that. I like that a lot.
So
And even if they can't come, they can still email. You guys all have emails. You're
yes,
all accessible.
we're all accessible. So if you have, certain things that you would like to see the city do, email us. All of our emails are on the website. And the budget workshops, no decisions are being made. This is the opportunity for us to look at a pretty rough draft. But it is the proposed budgets for each of the departments. So everything from our HR department to our police department, fire department, public works, and they'll present their requests for the next budget. If it's an increase or a decrease, that's also included. If it's new items, that will be included. If they're making a request for equipment that would be covered through a grant that they've applied to, that's noted. So it's a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hour workshop. And again, they're just presenting their initial budget requests. And then we'll do that again in July. But between then, we'll be looking at updates to these budget requests as well as August. The council does not vote on the final budget until the end of September,
Okay.
which we're required to do. And we will look at also setting the property tax rate.
Okay.
So on your property tax bill, you'll probably see what's called taxing jurisdictions. Northside School District is usually the biggest one.
Yes, it is.
The city of Helotes would get roughly 15% of what your total tax bill is.
Like University Health, Alamo City College District. I'm like
San Antonio River Authority.
Yeah, there's a few on there.
Yeah.
Northside is definitely the biggest. That's just objectively true. Yeah. I mean, I'm not looking at your tax statement, but I'll look at mine. It's a lot bigger.
Yes.
The cities, I mean, it's in there. It's nominal. It's something to be aware of, but it's of the things. I don't want to speak for Helotes residents, but as a Helotes resident, I would say of the money I spend in a year, that line item is not one that is even on my top 25 radar,
Yeah, it's very small. We did not change it last year from the previous year. So it stayed at 31 cents per $100 valuation of your home. There was a proposal to lower it a little bit. If you were in a $350,000 home, if we had lowered that 31 cents, it would have saved that homeowner about $70 for the year.
Yeah, it's yes.
So,
doing the math on those.
Helotes is already one of the lowest as far as property taxes within Bexar County.
Yeah, I think there's a slide, right, that comes up in presentations, and this is why people should engage, because they'll see this, like Leon Springs and like other neighboring similar, like we are lower on that
very low
cent per $100 valuation. It's quite low.
Right.
Yeah.
And between property taxes, sales taxes, and then other revenue the city gets through, say court fees.
Sure.
You have to be careful. You lower property taxes too much. Well, if you get to a position where you're going to need to raise them, it's going to be really hard to do.
Yeah.
So ours are already very low, and you just have to think about the second and third order effects when you make these changes.
They are, like you live in a small town, like we live in a small town on purpose, and you kind of want the things that come with that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, like you don't know how much goes into it until you need it, right? This is very random, but John in animal control, like this is very random. I had to call him last week because we had 2 dogs just running around out here.
Oh.
And he got here like 5 minutes, like I don't know. And there's a couple people pull off and they're like, what do we do with these dogs? I have no idea what to do with these dogs. And I've been the first time I've called animal control in my life. He was awesome. He showed up. So thanks for coming out. I had to hop on a call, so I didn't really get to like follow through on it. But the fact that he was just available, and could take care of it. Like that's what I'm talking about. Because I would guess if I was in ETJ or county or city of San
Oh,
Antonio, like they'll. I don't even think they'll get to me today.
yeah,
I would think the same is true of law enforcement. Like people don't. I know people have their opinions on it, but you want law enforcement, and
absolutely.
you want this. You want a law enforcement service group that can respond relatively quickly.
Hmm.
And I know from experience, I'm not throwing. I just if your car's broken into in San Antonio, like they'll take a report, but you're probably not going to get a response just because there's so much going on.
Right.
Living in a smaller city, there's benefits that come with that, and the police force. Anyway, I'm sorry,
They're
I'm
huge
talking.
benefits,
Yeah,
but that's
you
also
you
what
want that,
your portion of your property tax
right?
bill for the city of Helotes is paying for.
Right,
It's paying for these services and the people who provide them.
right.
And we have an excellent, excellent staff.
Yeah,
Um, Part of our job as city council members is to spend some time with the department leaders to learn more about their departments and how they operate and what their needs are, but also what they provide and their training. And I I could not be more impressed with the staff down there. And I'm not saying that just as a city council member, but as a resident. I mean, we moved back here because we already knew Helotes was a very safe community. And I think that's always going to be either the number one or number two, most important criteria
that's
for
right.
any resident or any business that is here or looking to come here is
Right.
public safety. But on the administrative side, our professional staff are excellent and care so much about this community and doing a good job. And I'm very proud to live in Helotes. And I want to see our staff, as it grows over the years, continue to have the resources that they need, from training to equipment, so that we remain a safe community and we get great services provided by the very best people.
So what do you think? I don't, and maybe you're not allowed to say. There's all sorts of rules about this stuff. But what do you expect? Anything you expect to be focal point in this year's budget season? Anything, or what do you think would benefit the town most, kind of going into this 26, 27 year? Again, I'm not.
Mhm.
If you can't get into it, again, there's rules the way
Mhm.
government works. But is there anything you'd like to share, or maybe save that for the workshop? Or
Um, I think I might save that for the
it's
workshop.
good. No, it's
But
good.
I
It's
will
easy.
tell you that when the workshop materials are posted online,
Yeah.
everyone will have access to it and they can look at it. And as I mentioned before, you'll see the requests and you'll see if they're new or if they're an increase.
Okay.
It
And that's by
won't,
department.
and that's by department, and it will cover personnel, so salaries.
Yeah. Always.
It will also cover equipment, training.
Sure.
Those are probably the three biggest categories as far as department needs.
And do
And I think people should really look at that.
certainly.
Um, Last year we made a big push for salary increases. Um, Helotes was not competitive with surrounding communities, even those that are larger than ours. We're all pulling from the same talent pool, and there had been a number of years where staff would receive a 3% increase, and then that shifted to a 5% increase, but you're still not keeping up with the market and you're not keeping up with
Mm,
inflation.
yeah.
And instead of a flat increase across all departments, the city administrator worked with the department leadership to look at what the salaries were specifically in each of their departments. So it wasn't just a flat 5%. And there were some increases that I felt needed to be made in order to attract and retain
Sure.
our great staff. We're never going to be the highest paying, and that's okay because I think there's a very special culture here. But we can do a better job as far as what we're paying our employees, and so I'm hoping that we see another increase. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big believer in human resources,
Hmm.
big believer in continuity and consistency. And
Hmm.
again, people, there's a million reasons why things happen, but I I agree with you. At least it's all about people at the end of the day.
Yes.
It really is all about
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
Uh, okay, that's good. Well, enjoy. I guess engage with, and I think people might enjoy the budget workshops. I went last year to part of one, and it is worthwhile discussion. It is.
Was
There's
it
a
eye
lot going on.
opening?
It was
Yeah.
well, it was eye opening.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is eye opening.
It is. Yeah.
It's. I mean, there's a lot to it. Again, we
Yeah.
say this. People think. I think as human beings, we always have a tendency to think
Hmm.
things are simpler than they are at first, and pick the genre, pick the topic.
Yeah.
How complicated can it be? And with almost no exceptions, it's always more complicated than you think.
Yeah.
People have been doing this a long time. There's reasons why
Hmm.
it works this way, and it can always be improved. But improvement, the prerequisite of that is engagement, thoughtful engagement.
Right.
I get so
I think participating through Citizens to be Heard, or just at any time emailing council members and the mayor,
right,
and but also taking the time to learn how the city operates and what it can and cannot do.
right,
Um, we have a comprehensive plan. It has not been updated since, I believe, 2009.
yeah,
Um, I will say that will be another item that I kind of advocate for, is we need a comprehensive plan or strategic plan. It's how all decisions should be made. Everything should be tying back to a plan. And without one, um,
It- would that be almost like it's a like there's a difference between backyard football and professional football,
mhm.
right? Like backyard football is just kind of drawing routes on the ground with a stick in the dirt. You say, just go, just go this way, you go that way, and then it just breaks down into not chaos, but certainly just not a lot of organization there.
Yeah.
Whereas, every single team on Sunday
Mhm.
comes in with a very like that's the whole the play on the field is the last thing to come through. Like you've game planned for that for hours, and that
Mhm.
is that. I don't know if that's a fair analogy, but
I think it's not unfair,
yeah,
and like what we've seen on the EDC, we have a strategic plan.
right,
That's how we're going to know if the EDC is being successful or not.
right,
There's some key performance indicators. We have specific goals. We have strategies for reaching those goals. And anything that comes to us as an opportunity, we can measure against that plan
mhm,
to let us know, should we be doing this or not? So when you don't have a plan and you're making decisions, I think it's a missed opportunity
yeah,
to
just
be
yeah,
more efficient and more thoughtful about where we spend money,
yeah.
because
If
it's not our money; it's belongs to the taxpayers.
that's right, that's right.
Hmm.
Fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
I think those are most of the questions I had for you. Any
Okay.
last thoughts around your time back here in Helotes? Again, I know you grew up, your deep roots, and you're
Mhm.
back and making progress and really giving a bunch to the city. Any parting thoughts you'd like to share?
I
Put you on the
think we
spot there. I'm
just
sorry.
we have the best people.
We do.
We have the
That's right.
best people here. I mean, when I not only wanted to know more about the city, I wanted to know more about the community. And that's how I got involved in so much volunteer work. The Society of St. Vincent de Paul has been operating a food pantry for over 30 years. And that's been a wonderful experience. And I've also been involved with the Historical
That's right.
Society of Helotes. That was another kind of connection with Cynthia Massey.
Did you know
And
Cynthia before you came back?
no,
Okay.
no, and we lived just
Oh,
a couple
funny.
of
Okay.
streets over from each other.
Okay.
And then the Helotes Festival Association
Yeah.
is another
Great.
incredible group of
Yep.
volunteers. You know, those grounds host 20 plus events a year, and it's all volunteer run. And we got a little messy this spring, doing some painting out there, getting ready for Carnival. But it was a blast. I love it. So the people in this community are just the best.
Yeah.
And the more and more people that I meet somebody new every week.
Yeah.
And those connections are just special, and I don't think you can find them anywhere else.
That's right. Well, Sabrina, thank you for joining me. I really
Thank
appreciate your
you.
insights and your willingness to join and willingness to frankly do a lot in the community. So I really appreciate it.
Well,
Thank you
thank you
for
for
joining
doing
us.
this
Yeah.
too.
And thank you for listening.
Mhm.
We hope you enjoyed the episode and we'll continue to tune in. Thank you.